Now, then the board also held a public hearing on its proposed 2021 General Assembly legislative priorities. And what did those priorities include, and how did the county develop those priorities?
Well, we have a package every year, and we have our liaison, Pat Carroll, who's been doing this a long time, and she will come back. So and every year you kind of go through this thing. Okay, this is last year's package. What did we actually get accomplished? And then you can take them off because you don't need to advocate anymore because we did it. And then you look at what do you want to add. And I must say, for most of my years, the legislature's been controlled by the Republican half of the aisle, and therefore almost everything stayed year after year after year after year because we didn't get much done. But this last year, we got a lot done. And I think the overall thing is we keep wanting to have more ability to run our own government, if you will. Tax ourselves, like the cigarette tax that you mentioned earlier, Matt, and an ability to handle things like, for one, we were asking, can we name our streets? Cities can name their streets, but counties can't. There's these odd things, and I think that's the underlying theme always for these packages is local control and what can we do. And we've been looking at a lot of different items that kind of go on that, on energy resilience and things. Sometimes we find the large companies get in our way for doing what we want. For one, like on broadband, there's a lot that kind of gets in our way on state regulation that without it, we could be much more quickly and efficiently getting broadband to our more vulnerable people, during this pandemic. And we're working on that and doing workarounds, but it's pretty frustrating. And that's the sort of thing that goes into our legislative package.
Yeah, I think you hit the right note. In some areas, we made a lot of progress on last year's legislative package, like environment and energy related issues, climate change. We made a lot of progress last year. So we have additional items in that area, but we also know that this is going to be a virtual legislative session. So the number of bills is going to be a little more limited, and it was good to start the process. Really want to make sure our residents all know that this is a public hearing that was starting the process. There will be a couple of opportunities over the coming weeks to add your thoughts and recommendations that we will hear. I think one is coming up on the 24th. So that's the context for the legislative package. We have to keep in mind tying it back to this moment and COVID, and so health is a key piece of our priorities. Housing is also a key part of our legislative package. It's a very different legislative environment this year than last year. And so we're going to try and target on those basic needs and continue with some of the good governance, getting more authority for Arlington to do what's best for our community. That's the package, and there'll be more opportunities to come.
Yeah, and we're usually asking the state to step up and help us. Actually, one area though that we've carried on that is a constant frustration is trees. We have so little ability to protect our trees. And last year we put in a study, which I don't think the study happened this year because of COVID. And right now the legislation is such that when a developer cuts down trees and plants little new trees on a site, they get credit for planting those little trees. But if they keep the big, beautiful trees, they get no credit. So there's actually incentive to cut down trees. And we gotta get rid of that. And that again is in the state code. And it's really frustrating how long it takes to handle get some of these things through, but that's the way it goes. So we're continuing to push on that as well.
All right, well, we will see what happens with that. And with that, we will take one more short break. When we come back, we'll close out our November County Board wrap-up with a look at a new name for a town square in a historic Arlington neighborhood, a new playground for a Roslyn Park, and the return of a much-loved Arlington holiday tradition. We'll be right back.